1234 is a rather poetic film. It's by a director called Bill Hickey, and it features the voice of Stuart from that lovely band, Belle and Sebastian.
I like to travel, I like to be moving. I'm a tourist, I like to look around. I remember a few trips down to London, and it was a difficult time. Going through a difficult time, I tend to lean on art a lot more. Certain songs flicker through my mind that just conjure up pictures of where I was and what I was feeling at the time. Like the first love of my life, I was on at like 12 and I started seeing this girl, Eileen. It was the start of the 80s running craze, and I used to meet Eileen at 7 o'clock in the morning before school, down in the park. And my friend Brian used to come along, and sometimes Ian would come along, and these kids coming out of the bushes. And we were only like 12, 13. And kids turning up in little jogging suits at 7 o'clock in the morning. We used to kind of jog around the pond, but more often than not we used to end up in this tree. But this time it was sort of spring, so we were all full of the joys. In our little gang we were the hot couple, sort of leading couple. I was quite happy. It's funny, I was like probably the one time of my life when I was quite happy for a relationship to just stretch off into the horizon. No qualms whatsoever. It was all okay by me. Because we were rockers. I mean, I was a rocker, and so she was by default, she was a rocker. I bought her a Status Quo single, Something About You Baby I Like. She bought me an AC/DC glitter patch. I can't remember who actually sewed it on. It was probably my mum. Adults think kids are just like, all that kind of stuff is so much trash. But I really felt like I was in love. I look at the kids now and I know that all that stuff's going on. What they're thinking about is relationships a lot of the time. And there's that whole world that's existing around that. But this is the death of that kind of feeling, and the death of that feeling for quite some time, because she dumped me. She dumped me. She didn't feel that kids our age should be getting so serious. 2 weeks later, she started seeing a guy who was 2 years above us. I mean, 2 years above is like, this guy might as well have been driving a car and drinking whiskey and stuff like that, because that was, you couldn't compete with that. Here's the killer. A month after she dumped me, Dexy's released Come On Eileen. All summer, you know, I had to listen to that song all summer. Why do I have to listen to that? I actually did have a conscious awakening, like the next day when I was thinking about it, that things weren't going to be quite the same. Ideas and things embed themselves in. Your brain's growing at that time, and it just stays with you. Forms you. I was just a fan, and I was always caught up with just the magic of music and groups. I didn't dare to think that I could do that kind of thing. But at the end of the 80s, I got quite unwell, really unwell for about a year or so. And I started to feel a little bit better, but everything changed. Everything changes. Everything changed. Nothing that you wanted to happen happened. It was just a vacuum. And I used to stick out my thumb, just get lost, looking for something and drifting, running. God, I used to I used to get such itchy feet. There was records that really you lent heavily on. 10 felt records in 10 years flowing from an uncluttered mind. I cottoned onto them. I had to have everything. I had to hear everything and realise in the way your favourite group affects you, something that you love everything that they do, no matter if it's the worst work, even if they're taking the piss, you still love it in a way. And that's how I felt about Felt. Lawrence hardly sang, he just like spoke, always trying to match poetry with music. It was almost like pure music. I thought if I ran into Lawrence it would be convenient. Train journeys and bus journeys and hitchhiking and London and London. And I thought about ringing his doorbell. I thought about it for about 2 minutes, and then I knew it wasn't going to do it. Ended up just getting back on the train to Glasgow. Nothing happening in Glasgow. Sitting in a park, considering my next move, sitting underneath a tree, and a woman came up. An old lady came up, and maybe I had my eyes closed or something, and she said, is that you having a rest? And I said, I'm just sitting here. She said, and that's work, is it? I mean, you don't know what the fuck was going to happen next. Just feelings of general late adolescent panic. And I just shouted stop at one time. I'd been through a rotten time, and I wanted to physically grab people and catch them at certain times, like catching the ride. I wanted to catch the kids before they ran over the cliff. It was bursting out of me. I really, I wanted to like catch people at a certain time, at a certain age, bring them back a little bit, point them in the right direction, give them a pat in the back. When music suddenly came in, filled the vacuum, and became everything. Definitely did have that notion at the start. It was desperate. Lay your hand subconsciously on the back of somebody's neck and just say, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking, it's alright. Skating pirouettes on ice. Or reading Gospels. If you have a spark, a strong idea, it is amazing how in that instant you can see it's got a life of its own, and how it just develops. It's like those pictures of Tomorrow's World in the 70s. You get the slow motion pictures of ice forming, that you can see the crystals forming really fast. There is that kind of thing with good creativity, and it's a real buzz. You can go down and make something from nothing. You can turn a feeling into a bit of music, a noise, and that in turn will go onto a record, and that will end up at somebody's house, and that noise will be turned back into a feeling. There's an analogy in science. You used to get it in school, physics, about different energy, or chemical energy, and food turning into kinetic energy, move around, and then heat energy, or maybe electrical energy turning into light and things like that. So we're just trying to make a really nice sound. It's songs and sounds. You can enjoy the sound of music making it, and the camaraderie between the band, and you can look at each other and you think, come on, let's make a fabulous sounding record this time. Let's make a record that's as good as Make Me Smile by Cockney Rebel or Marquee Moon by Television. We'll probably fail, but Jesus, you've got to have a go. You look back at the records of the Beatles or the Zombies or the Left Bank, or these records that you love, and you think somebody got up and created this, carved this from a block of marble, this Left Bank single, but they didn't. You're getting this objective by looking back. They were just the same as you in your situation, and maybe 20 years from now somebody will look at one of your records and think, well, that was a distinct thing, but they won't realise that it was just a bunch of random people that came together to make it. And tiny things. The postman who just delivered your letter this morning. Chance comment that somebody said to you when you were 16. Finding a letter on the pavement. A picture of what didn't happen. And come on, Eileen. You find the strands in life. Things that are very specific to you, and you knit them up.
There's a portrait in a back room which I keep 4 days upon, which I relent and gaze for hours on the muscle, skin and bone of some imaginary friend. So how about it? Show me please how well look in 20 years, and let me please interpret history in every line and scar that's painted there in front of me. Still falling. Listen, Johnny.